Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
We're back on Nittany Game Week. Different kind of impact interview. Typically, we show you about 5 or 6 minutes of a 10 to 15-minute interview with the rest living on our website, NittanyGameWeek.com. So it's time to deliver some of the extra points we get from our guests. Here's a few questions and answers we thought you'd love to see in this week's program.
Going back to 2008, which was obviously a really special season, was there a moment that you and your teammates realized that you were really onto something that was going to be a tremendous season?
So there were a few, but there was one that definitely stood out. After every Big Ten win, there was more confidence that was built, especially with me, because I was a nervous wreck pretty much before every single game. And with you talking to me, with Coach talking to me, and with my dad, after the first Big Ten win against Illinois, that was great. Under the lights, we did what we had to do and get the win. And we had a rough start with Purdue, but we got the win. And, we were counted out by a lot of people outside of the locker room. So when our first major road test against Wisconsin, and it was prime time, 8 o'clock, and we showed out. We came to the party and we made it happen. We started from the very beginning, and we imposed our will from the start to the finish. I realized, along with a few of the other teammates, that we can be a serious team, and we can be a team to be reckoned with. And we're starting to get close to that table to be in that discussion. Another thing that stood out to me, and I knew it from then on, when we were getting on, right before we got on the plane to head back to State College after that win in Madison, Todd Blackledge texted me. And I'll never forget it. I think they covered the game as far as commentary. And he texted me. He texted me and he said, "That was a really impressive win. You guys are for real." I was sold after that.
You've worked a national championship, but there are so many other great games in college football that wasn't necessarily for a national championship. What are one or two that stand out? And is there anything left on the bucket list that you want to get to?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard because I've covered so many good games. Okay, so national championship, covering national championship has always been a dream and a goal of mine. So to be able to do that the last 2 years has been surreal. I covered last year's national championship 8 months pregnant, which was like an intersection of both of my dreams coming true. So that was incredible. Last year, the Fiesta Bowl between TCU and Michigan was an incredible game. That was one of my favorite games I've covered, just in terms of the play on the field, the storylines, the athletes. Michigan and JJ McCarthy, like, he plays with so much passion. Just being able to witness someone like him on the sidelines and what he's saying to his teammates, before trying to win a game and make it to a championship. Like, I don't take for granted how special those moments are, and to even just be on the sidelines, witnessing things like that is so special. In terms of a bucket list, I think at some point in my career, I want to cover a Super Bowl. And so that's something that is still ahead of me and that I would love to do at some point in my career.
Hey, Mike, I told people we were going to have you on our show tonight, and they wanted me to ask you this question. Of all your accomplishments and accolades, which ones stand out the most to you?
I have to say, and Jay, I don't know, and Tom, you guys, I don't know if you feel this. The past, it's not that I'm not interested. I don't really think much about it. I still, I find that I'm reasonably healthy. I get up and I work every day. I'm still engaged in what I might discover when I go over across the driveway into my little studio. And so I'm still engaged in that. One of my favorite stories is about the great, he's long gone now, Pablo Casals. At one point, he was considered the world's greatest cellist, the world's greatest cellist. Well, he lived to be an old man, and he was in his early 90s, and he was being interviewed. And, when you're now, that's changed. Along comes great other young talent. But she's interviewing him, and that in his early 90s, and he informs her during the interview that at 92 he got up every morning and practiced. And she said, "Maestro, you're Casals. You got up every morning and practice. Why? And he said, because I think I'm making progress. And I love that story. That's such an inspiring story for me, because I really do. I don't think there is a secret to life. I just don't think there is. But there are a couple of little nuggets when you think about them might get your butt up out of bed and to work on what's at hand for that day. If you're still engaged in this moment.
Hope you enjoyed those extra points. We're going to step aside for the TV show to take a break. Make sure to go to NittanyGameWeek.com for all of our Impact interviews and entire conversations, along with other web exclusive content.